And now you can see that, unfortunately, because I have to do these things with myself, and I end up with 2 Charlotte Napiers, which, as Bruce said, is quite a daunting prospect. And so what you're then able to do is, as somebody that's come into the workspace, you're then able to go and look at all of the files, and you can just click this. There's 2 arrows back to back with each other. If you click on that, this brings down the drop-down menu that you can see here. And then obviously you've got the options to download and lock, move and copy, and email the file across. Lots of different options, really useful to be able to have so many options. Then you can also obviously add files and folders back in. So that's a simple and easy way to share and download the files quite easily. And so that was Huddle. Sorry, take you back one. That was Huddle. So you can see how this is such an efficient way of sharing large documents, keeping control of all the versions, and so preventing all the confusion, and it just saves everybody a bit of time and effort, which is the beauty of a lot of these Web2 technologies. I don't know if anybody's got any questions or comments they want to make. Would anybody think that it would be useful to them? Can they see how they'd use it?
Mm-hmm. Confidentiality in terms of clients identification, perhaps, Debbie. So, Charlotte, it's a closed group, isn't it? You dictate.
Yeah, nobody else would be able to view anything unless you'd particularly invited them to the workspace. And therefore, you always have your own personal workspace, and then you can be invited to additional workspaces that you'll be able to see on your dashboard. And say, for example, I had shared my workspace with Debbie, and then Bruce had shared his workspace with me. Bruce, although he shared his workspace with me, would not be able to see my workspace where Debbie was within it. So it's a case of monitoring and checking who you want to be invited to the workspace. And I think you're able to give people varying levels of privileges on what they're able to do as well.
One of the things I've used it, or started to use it for, and can see myself doing more over the next 12 months, is, and I think this is fairly typical, I operate off a laptop. I don't go all over the country like I used to, so I predominantly work from home, but occasionally if I have to go out and do a presentation, particularly with video case studies, they're very large, and files are getting larger, not smaller, and that will go up exponentially as broadband increases. Then I can't carry everything on a stick or even on my laptop without slowing the laptop down. So I'm using it just as a personal file store on the internet, sort of cloud computing as its jargon is, so that I can access it from wherever I go to run my applications. So I'm not actually using it to collaborate, I'm using it just as a digital store. Okay, I could use YouTube, I could use all sorts of things, but Huddle, I can put any file formats up there. It doesn't have to be video, PowerPoint presentations. Some of mine are 6 to 10 megabytes big because of photos. So it's no big deal in that respect as using an online store, but it's solves a practical problem, which is, I guess, what we're trying to focus in on today. Debbie's, go back to Charlotte. Sorry, Debbie's got some compromise from the outside. Charlotte, have you got any thoughts on what, I mean, the integrity? Yes, okay, Debbie's saying, yeah, we can all have our own spaces, but people can break into these things.
I can't say that I've particularly encountered that personally. I mean, I know that we as a company have a Huddle account that is one of the paid for plans, and I think that that's been running for quite a while, and I don't think that there's ever been any sort of compromise from the outside. I think what you do have to be aware of is that Huddle support is actually one of the better supports around. They're very good at coming back to you and giving you good support solutions. So if you were to think that it was being compromised, I think if you got in contact with them, or even before, if you were thinking about using it, perhaps contact them and just say, what's security like? Is it likely to be compromised? Have there been very many situations in which it's been compromised?
I think
they would then
sorry, Charlotte,
give you quite a good...
I think that's the key. Sorry to interrupt, Charlotte. That's the key question. Because if you say, what's the likelihood of it being compromised, then they'll tell you, no, it's all secure, like all salesmen. But asking a practical, historical question is always the way into checking security and quality of anything. How many times has it been compromised in the 3-year history of it existing? Those sorts of things are worth finding out. The other thing I'd bring in, Debbie, just as a balancing, yes, I'm not diminishing or dismissing your concerns about confidentiality. I understand all about the very sensitive issues. Both my ex-wife and I have worked in those spaces. But the thing to always balance out is, well, we assume online is less safe and less secure than offline. Well, just look at all the laptops and USB sticks that the Department of Defence and other government departments have left on tubes and lying around. Think about all the files at a very national level where prisoners' information has been given away because people have left paper files lying around. I just want to put a balancing thing up. The offline world is not secure. We know that. The online world probably isn't totally secure either. We know that. But is it any different? Is the stuff on your laptop more secure, especially if you take it out of your office, off your intranet? Anybody can look into your laptop and forward whatever emails and they can find. In fact, in the office, people can log on the intranet and find out information using other people's passwords, because people give each other passwords and find out juicy information on someone they know. I don't want to become one-eyed here, but there's a comparison is always worth thinking about. Okay, Charlotte, back to you.
Okay, and Granny, I see that you quite like the idea of being able to use this, and I think I personally would quite like the idea of being able to just go and log in on another computer rather than carrying computers around with me everywhere. Because as Bruce said, perhaps that would make it more secure than the risk of you leaving it somewhere.